Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, bringing you another Beat Matt Batrep.
We work so you can play. MiniWarGaming's Beat Matt Batrep.
Today I've been challenged by Mike to a game of Warhammer 40k, and I'm facing off against the army I have yet to beat. That is Dark Eldar. And I figured because I've never beaten them with Tyranids, I better bring Tyranids this time, just so that if I win, I can finally say, yes, I beat those nasty Dark Eldar. So we're going to be playing 1,500 points. Let's take a look at the armies as well as the scenario.
Let's start by taking a look at my Tyranid army. Now it's a mainly medium base army with a couple of monstrous creatures. Here we have the Swarmlord. Now I'm proxying him. I do intend to get the model, but right now it's just a Hive Tyrant who's going to be the Swarmlord with 2 Tyrant Guard. And we got a flying Hive Tyrant with 2 Twin Link Devourers. And then we've got 2 Zoanthropes inside of a Mycetic Spore. We've got 3 Raveners with Death Spitters in their thoraxes and their chests. We've got 3 Hive Guard, which I haven't brought to a battle report in a little while, so I thought I'd better try them out. And we got 2 groups of 5 Tyranid warriors with Scything Talons and Death Spitters. Looking at Mike's Dark Eldar army, he's brought a few Eldar allies. Those orcs are for another battle report. Right here we've got some Reaver jet bikes, just a squad of 3. Over here we have a squad of 4 Incubi plus an Archon. This is the HQ, and they are going to be inside of a Venom. So they're a heavy-hitting close combat squad. We've got a bunch of Kabalite warriors inside of a Raider, and that Raider has the racks that'll let them reroll, and also has a Dark Lance. So it's quite powerful. And then we've got a group of witches, so a witch squad with a Hexatrix, or I'm sorry, I can't remember what it's called. And they're inside of a Raider as well. And even though it's not modeled, it has the same upgrades. Have a Razor Wing jet fighter here, because hey, we've got some new fighters, we better bring them in. And then the allies, we have a Farseer as the HQ, and he brought a Guardian squad with a weapons platform, and so that's the minimum requirement. And this was so that he could bring the mighty Wraith Knight, because this is the new toy that the Eldar have to play with, so the Dark Eldar want to play with it too. And that is his 1,500 points of Dark Eldar with Eldar allies. So for the scenario, we are going to be doing objectives. We decided to make it more of a forest board just for some scenic niceness. So these are all mysterious trees or mysterious forests, and you can see that we've already placed the objectives down. And it is going to be the hammer and anvil deployment, and so that is the basically you deploy on the short table edges instead of the long table edges. So that'll be, I think, better for him because he's a lot faster than me, but it's what we rolled, and I just can't play the same deployment every single time. And so most of my army is going to be in reserves, basically just the warriors and the Swarmlord with his Tyrant Guard ally, or his bodyguard, are going to start on the board. And he's going to start as far forward as possible. I rolled for, and the Hive Guard are in as well. I rolled for Psychic Powers in the Biomancy table, and I wanted to get Iron Arm, and even though I rolled for 4 different Psychic Powers, because he knows 4 Psychic Powers, I did not get Iron Arm. That was the one that was really important for me to get. I did get Endurance, though, and Warp Speed, so that'll help him in close combat, and the Endurance will help him with Feel No Pain, and it will not die. But still, the Wraith Knight, for example, when it fires its big Strength 10 AP2 cannons, if it rolls a 6 to wound, that inflicts instant death, to which the Swarmlord is not immune, even though he should be an Eternal Warrior, but he's not. So maybe when they update the Tyranids, they'll rectify that. I don't think that all the Tyranids should be Eternal Warriors like they used to be when they're in Synapse, but I think the ones like the Swarmlord and Old One Eye probably should be. And maybe the Doom of Malantai too, because that wouldn't be broken at all, like not one tiny little bit, if the Doom of Malantai was an Eternal Warrior with 10 wounds and a 3+ invulnerable save. Like totally balanced, especially if they drop his points values by like 20 or 30, because he's far too expensive right now. I'm just kidding. For those of you that don't know, I was definitely just kidding, because the Doom Malantai is awesome, and I love him, and he always works really well for me whenever I bring him, which is why I don't bring him every time, because, well, it kind of gets boring. Anyway, we have the Dark Eldar player here now deploying all of his forces. And we have the 3 objectives. 2 of them are on my deployment side because I got to go first, so I got to choose which side I was going on. He's going to try to steal an initiative, of course. And we both don't have very many scoring units. I only have the 2 Tyranid squads, and I think he has 3 scoring units, if I am not incorrect. Yes, that's right. 2 with his main Dark Eldar force, and then 1 with the allies. And so he has the upper hand there, and also has the upper hand at the Wraith Knight because it's toughness 8 ridiculousness, and it's awesome. But we'll still see. It's definitely, I think the Dark Eldar start off with the upper hand a little bit just because of the deployment. But other than that, the Swarmlord and the Flying Hive Tyrant are a force to be reckoned with. He tries to steal initiative and fails. Oh, sorry, we already rolled for night fighting. And it is night fighting for the first turn, I believe, if I recall correctly. We're rolling for forest here. Of course, this one's a Razorwing nest, so when anybody moves, it's going to try to kill them. And luckily for this one right here, we rolled the Iron Bark, so that gives them the 3+ cover when they're inside there. So that's great, because they can just sit on the objective and have a 3+ cover, which is awesome. So to start off, the Swarmlord is going to cast Endurance on himself, and he makes that just fine. He's a Psychic level 2, so he could cast 2 spells or 2 psychic powers, but there isn't really any others that he wants to cast because he's too far away to really use them effectively. But he has Endurance on himself, so now he has Feel No Pain. So even things that ignore his 3+ armor save, he'll still get to roll his 5+ Feel No Pain because he is Toughness 6, so unless you inflict instant death, you do not ignore Feel No Pain. The rest of my guys are moving up inside the forest. These ones have to roll. If they roll 4 or higher for their difficult terrain, the Razor Wings will attack them. Now, I made the mistake of rolling the Razor Wing attack before they moved because I read it afterwards, and it's really after they finish moving, anyone still in the forest get attacked. And as you can see, most of them are out. I think only one was left behind. Actually, no, they're all out of the forest. And so, and same thing with the Hive Guard. They're moving into that Razor Wing nest, and they're taking damage. And they roll horribly and actually take 2 wounds. In fact, it's actually 3 because that 6 was rending, so you'll see me put a wound on them later on. So they each take 1 wound, which really sucks. Right there, there's the other one. So the forests are doing lots of damage to my guys. But the warriors shouldn't have taken any wounds. Now, mind you, they didn't take any wounds, so that's worked out just fine. So now we're running. Nobody's in range to really fire. All our weapons are 18-inch range, and the Swarmlord only has psychic powers to fire. So he's going to cast Conceal on this squad of Guardians, and Conceal gives them Shrouded, so +2 to their cover save, and he makes that just fine. And he's going to cast Guide on the big Wraith Knight, which allows it to re-roll its shooting. And he makes that without any problem, because he's not close enough to my Synapse in order for that to throw off of his, well, to have the Shadow on the Warp, where he has to roll 3 dice instead of just the 2. The Eldar no longer have all their psychic ridiculousness, which is kind of nice. And then he moves up his Venom full of the Incubi and the Archon, and he's just moving everything else to position to start firing on the Swarmlord. So I kind of made a mistake here. I don't know if it's a mistake or just really that the Swarmlord is not a good choice to bring in the first place. But since the Swarmlord is out by himself there, he's got a lot of wounds. That's a lot of Toughness 6 wounds to go through. There's 9 in total, and he has Feel No Pain. The guys out front do not, because it's the unit that is affected. So I don't think they get Feel No Pain. At least I didn't give it to them. And then also with the new rule for the Eldar, these guys actually can run and then fire. And so they're going to be doing that. And so, or was that the Razorwing nest? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. He's firing on the Swarmlord, and I have a 3+ save, and I fail one. And I have my 5+ Feel No Pain though, but I failed that too. See, I think I gave the Feel No Pain to the guys too. I'm not sure if I was supposed to do that, but it didn't matter because he failed it. And then the next squad is going to be firing into the Swarmlord and his posse. I got a 3+ save though, right? Right? Oh, I failed so many of them, but I got my Feel No Pain, and I failed 4 out of 5 of them. So that means that he's killed both of my bodyguard and knocked 1 wound off of the Swarmlord. So far that Feel No Pain has saved 1 of them, which might not have supposed to have been saving 1 of them, but still, I failed most of those. It didn't really matter. And then he inflicts a wound that ignores my armor, and so I get to roll Feel No Pain, but I failed that one too. So these guys are going to fire, but this is when they remember, oh wait, we can run first before we fire because of the Eldar special rule, which I cannot remember the name of. If you want to post in the comments what the name of the rule is, it's something like Battle Awareness or something like that. And then he's firing into my guy, and he ignores my armor. And so down to 1 wound. So you can kind of guess what's going to happen to the Swarmlord, and the problem is he's my Warlord. So when this guy fires in and wounds twice, and I have a 3+ save, and I fail 1 of them, but I have my 5+ Feel No Pain, and I fail that one too, that gives him 2 victory points. 1 for First Blood, and 1 for slaying the Warlord. And when you're playing in a game where you only have 2 scoring units, that's a big deal. Because that can, basically he can just get 1 objective, and as long as he denies 1, there's no way for me to win, unless I also kill his Warlord. So now he's opening fire on the rest of my guys, manages to kill 1 warrior, and is trying to kill the Hive Guard as well, but they make their cover save without a problem. And I think we forgot about night fighting, but that just happens all the time. So end of round 1, major casualty with the Swarmlord. The score is now 2-0. But there's still lots of Tyranids to come in. But definitely if we had a meter, like a little swing-o-meter thingy that showed you which side had the upper hand, it would definitely be on the Dark Eldar and Eldar side right now. So rolling for reserves, the Raveners are going to come in, but the Zoanthropes unfortunately will not. But the Flying Hive Tyrant will, which is kind of nice. But even though he's flying, and these guys scatter back 8 inches, but at least they don't mishap, which is good. But I think they actually move far enough back that they don't have as many targets. Flying Hive Tyrant comes in, but even with 24-inch flying, with swooping, he's still too far to fire, which really sucks. Oh, we forgot to roll for that objective, so we rolled a 2, and it was nothing. So the Flying Hive Tyrant's going to cast Iron Arm on himself, and he makes it, but he only adds 1 to his strength and his toughness, but it does give him Eternal Warrior, so at least that'll save him a little bit. And then the Hive Guard are going to leave that Razor Wing nest behind, and they manage to get out, but one of them is still in, so he's going to take some Razor Wing attacks. Poor guy, he's kind of left to himself. So he take D6 attacks, so only 1, and they're Strength 3 rending, and so he fails. And so nobody dies. So that's good. Taking 3 wounds on that was probably enough for the entire game. Don't really need to lose any more. And then the warriors are hunkering down inside of more terrain, because I need them to bring the fight to me, which he's more than happy to do. And these guys are going to stay inside of here because it's Iron Bark, so it's like 3+ cover save just for sitting in there, and that's pretty awesome. You don't get much better cover save than that. I guess you could get a 2+ cover save if you like combined it with stuff, but still. Flying Hive Tyrant then is going to run, and he gets to run 2d6 inches. And the Raveners are in range of the Reaver jet bikes, and they fire, and they inflict 3 wounds, and he has a 5+ save and fails all 3. So that's kind of nice. Managed to kill that squad within 1 shot. So that's definitely helping the Tyranids there, taking out that squad, because of their firepower is pretty good. And they're very fast and flexible. So I can't complain there. And then opening fire into the Guardian squad. And the thing is, since he's concealed, he's nice and far back, so he has a good cover save. So we're rolling them one at a time, because the guys out front have a worse cover save than the guys behind, because they're not in the woods. So those 3 die, but the rest of them are fine. Hive Guard are then going to fire in them as well, just hoping to cause them to try to panic and run away. I do manage to get 4 hits and 4 wounds, but he does have a 3+ cover combined with the 5+ from the forest, plus being shrouded because of the conceal ability. So are they going to run away? Of course not. Even with a leadership of 8, they make that without any problems. Dark Eldar turn 2, his flyer comes in, that is his only reserve, and it can fly on 18 to 36 inches, and he only comes in 18 because he's got plenty of range. Then the Farseer casts Guide onto the flyer, onto the Razor Wing, and makes it without any problem. So it'll have Twin Link there, and it'll be able to take on the Flying Hive Tyrant. Then he's going to cast Conceal on his squad again because it's working really well for him, and he makes that without any problem. So the one Raider is going to move up, and I believe this is one that's full of the Witch squad. It might be the Cabalite Warriors, but we'll have to wait and see when they come out. The other Venom full of the Incubi moves up, and the other Raider takes position as well. And then the Guardian squad moves out of their cover, knowing they're concealed, so they'll at least get a 5+ cover against whatever does happen to fire. And the Wraith Knight is a jump monstrous creature, so it could move up to 12 inches, but it decides not to use its jetpacks and only move 6 inches. And then the Farseer hides behind him, because why not? The Venom's then going to fire at the Hive Guard, because the Hive Guard are a threat. They do have good shots with their strength 8, 2 shots each. And with a 4+ save, fail 2 of those, 2 of the Hive Guard go down, so they're pretty much useless with only 1 of them left. Then the Flyer fires at my Flying Hive Tyrant, so he can use his Skyfire, so he gets a hit on 3s, he gets to reroll, he only gets 2 hits, inflicts wounds on 4s, and on a 3, so 2 wounds. And I get a 3+ save from the one, but not the other. Oh no, I get from the other as well. So I fail one of those, but either way, I've got to make a grounding test. Oh wait, that was the grounding test, and I failed it, and fell down to the ground and took a wound. So now I'm on the ground. From the first shot, I failed my grounding test. So he's on the ground. And then the Guardians fire at him and kill him. Just like that. Iron Arm, who cares about Iron Arm? I'm just going to kill you anyways. So both of my monstrous creatures are dead, and I kind of realized afterwards, I'm like, if you're going to play Dark Eldar, don't bring monstrous creatures, because with all their poison and their lance and stuff, they can take on monstrous creatures without any problem. Should have learned from my past mistakes, but I didn't. But now I have. So probably we'll see more Dark Eldar and Eldar fights now with the new codex and everything. So At least a new codex for the Eldar. So he's just picking off my warriors here and taking some more wounds. Thankfully, none of them are insta-killing them, so they have 3 wounds each. So there is a lot to tar pit through. He does fire his 2 strength 10 weapons, but misses with 1, but he gets to re-roll it. Why did he get to re-roll it? Oh no, that was not him re-rolling. I don't know why he got to re-roll that. Either way, I made my cover save, so it did not hurt. And then he's going to cast Mind War on them, and I negate it with Deny the Witch. So end of round 2. Both my monstrous creatures are dead. My warriors are still pretty healthy. I got 3 of them on the one side and 4 on the other side. That's still healthy, right? That's still healthy. I'm good. I'm all right. Having killed the Reaver jet bikes with my my Raveners is a good thing, but still the upper hand, I have to say, is going to the Dark Eldar, especially because it is still 2-0. But thankfully, the Zoanthropes do come in. They don't get delayed. Don't have to worry about mishapping with them, except for going off the table. And so they do scatter back 9 inches, but I get to deploy up to 6 inches out of them. It used to be 3, now it is 6, which is great because it gives me so much more flexibility with the Doom of Melantai. So they get into position. The Raveners are beasts, so they can move up to 12 inches. We decided the river is nothing just because it's kind of permanent there. So sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't. The warriors then move out, hoping to shoot down the raider and then charge the guys inside. The other warriors are moving about because they have to engage as well. They can't just sit back anymore. It's just not going to work. And then one Hive Guard moves up to try to get into range. Sporepod goes first. He only has 1 guy in range. He hits on 5s. He actually got 3 hits and 2 wounds. And it's strength 6. And he failed both his saves, but only 1 guy dies because only 1 guy was in range when he first started firing. The warriors then fire, and they fail miserably. They get 2 hits, 1 of which penetrates. But I only roll a 3. So that's just crew stunned. So he loses a hull point and is stunned. So that kind of sucks. Sorry, it was open top, so it became a 4, which is stunned. Oh, no. 5's immobilized. 4 was a weapon destroyed. So he lost his nice cannon. This Venom, however, got shot down by the Hive Guard, which is nice because it'll drop the Incubi outside of it and explodes and hurts all the Guardians nearby. And I think it nicks one of the Zoanthropes as well. So we'll roll for the Guardians first, wounding on 4s. They're lucky they only get 1 wound, and they save it. They're fine. And then the guys inside take strength 4 hits, I think. Either way, they get wounded on 3s, and they take 4 wounds, but none of them die with their 3+ save, so they're okay. But they do have to take a leadership test to see if they get pinned, and they're not pinned, but they do have leadership of 10, so they shouldn't really get pinned. The Raveners are then open fire on the other Raider with their Death Spitters, so strength 5s. So they're going to glance on 5s, and they get one glancing hit. Yeah, and I think he just ignored it there, too. I think he has some sort of cover. Either way, 2 psychic powers from the Zoanthropes deciding to target the Incubi while they're all grouped together, and they both make it, and neither of them were denied, and they get a direct hit with 1 and a direct hit with the second. So that's 10 strength 5 AP3? Strength 5 AP3. So now he's trying to pass off with a Lookout Sir, and he does manage to pass off 3 of these, killing the 3 other Incubi, but then he has to take a 2+ invulnerable save, and fails it. So there, I got a Warlord kill now too. So those guys ended up being completely useless. So that was nice. It was a good moral victory for me right there, seeing those guys go down so easily, when it could have easily done nothing, either with me failing psychic powers, or him denying it, or, yeah. Then firing at the Guardians, do lots of damage, and then you look out Sirs with the one guy right there, and he makes it. And so now they're going to try to charge him just because. He does get to try to, he gets a Overwatch, but fails it, but they fail the charge as well. So these guys are going to charge the Raider, and they don't take any wounds, but they are going to try to take down the Raider at least because it deserves to die. And then the Raveners are going to try to take down this Ravener as well. That's really not what I was hoping for. I was hoping I'd kill the vehicles and then charge the occupants, because that would actually give me a big advantage in the fight. But as it is, I'm just going to try to do as much damage as I can. It actually manages to take off 2 wounds of the Raveners when... he kills one and takes off 2 wounds of another from the Overwatch fire. He does really, really well there because he got the rerolls. And we did a leadership test right back there too because we had forgotten in the shooting phase, but he stayed still. And now we're fighting against the vehicle, and 6 is glance, and I only get 1. Just 1. So that's kind of annoying. And then the Raveners get to attack, hitting on 3s. And now I think I made a mistake here. So yeah, the 6s, which are automatic penetrating because they have rending. That's right. They do have rending. They did not have poison. Later on, all of a sudden, I start rolling as if they had poison and not rending. I don't know what happened to my brain, but yeah, that's what happened. So it explodes, hurts the last warrior right there, but nothing happens. And then the guys inside do take... Well, I take a casualty. Jeez, man, I'm taking more damage from this Raider than it's inflicted on me. And then everybody inside gets wounded on a 3+. That's a lot of wounds, and he loses quite a few guys. I think he loses 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, might be 7, which is just a huge amount to lose. 6, 7. Yeah, he lost 7 of them, and that sucks for him. He's going to see if he's pinned, but at least he's not pinned, so those 3 get to fire. But all of a sudden, the Tyranids, they might get a bit of a momentum heal. Here, the Farseer is going to cast Conceal. Sorry, is that the Farseer? No, there's a Farseer, but the other one had the other guy that's a Psyker. So I've been getting that wrong all along. It wasn't a Farseer. It was a Warlock. And so the Farseer puts Guide on the Wraith Knight, and the Warlock puts Conceal on himself because, hey, why not? Because it has to be himself in his squad. Then all the warriors jump out, getting ready to fight. His flyer moves up forward further, trying to get a good target. And these guys are all going to fire at the warriors before charging them. I only wound them once, though, and I have a 4+ save. But I fail that, so they do take a wound off of my warriors before they'll charge in. And these guys are going to fire at the Raveners because, hey, why not? And they do inflict 3 wounds. I have a 5+ save, though, and I make it. All 3 of them, which is good because they would have been really dead. And he's going to try to take a pot shot at my Zoanthropes, but doesn't do anything. And then he runs forward towards them. And then he fires with the flyer at this one poor Hive Guard who doesn't stand a chance because that ignores his armor. So the Tyranids are deteriorating really quickly. He's going to fire his 2 strength 10 cannons, which will insta-kill. 2 hits, 1 wound only, thankfully, so he only insta-kills 1 of them. So that's a big difference. And then his Farseer is going to cast Mind War again on the warriors, even though they have a pretty high leadership. And he makes it with 3 dice, and I do not negate it. So we both roll a die. He rolls a 5, I roll a 6. I actually beat him, which drops his weapon skill and ballistic skill down to 1 for a full round. So that kind of backfired on him right there. Not too big a deal, though, because he's still got that Wraith Knight. Then he tries to charge the warriors, and he loses 2 guys to the Overwatch, but he gets into the charging no problem. So we're going to have a nice, good, close combat fight. Finally, the warriors do have poison, so that's going to help me. I've got Scything Talons to help me with rerolls, and I've got poison to help me with the damaging, which is very, very nice. And he fails his charge with the Wraith Knight, which is even nicer, because just charging would kill my guys, because the impact hit would be strength 10, I believe, which would insta-kill a warrior, and then he'd get to kill the rest really easily. It's like 4 or 5 attacks. And then fighting against the Tyranid warriors over here, he kills 1, but then I get to strike back with all my might. So I got 6 attacks, re-rolling 1s, so 4 or 5 hits, and then wounding on 3s, re-rolling because of the poison. And so that gets me 5 wounds, which he fails 2. So I think that actually ties it up almost right there. Or no, I think he wins, but I'm fearless, so it didn't matter. So end of round 3. Very interesting turn here. He still has both his scoring units, and so do I. But one of his scoring units is almost dead. Both of mine are seriously injured. But all of a sudden, if he loses all of his scoring, 2 points is the maximum number of points he can get. And if I can keep one of my scoring alive, then then I could take an objective. So that's going to be hard, though. These Raveners will take care of that scoring unit, no problem. These Tyranids are going to move into the trees so that if they get charged by the Wraith Knight, at least they get to strike him first. They have poison, so that'll help, even though he's got like 6 wounds and a 3+ save or something ridiculous like that. The Zoanthropes are going to come and help in the fight with the warriors because that'll allow, they'll be more of a tar pit, and so that'll help. And then the Raveners are charging in, and they do take some Overwatch shots. Oh, wait, are they already in combat? I think I messed that up. Doesn't matter. Yeah, they took some Overwatch shots, but did not die, and then they killed 2 of the guys. And then charging or shooting at the Warlock. That's what we're shooting right now. I'm sorry, I got lost there for a second. Shooting at the Farseer, or the Farseer. He takes wounds down to 1, and then they're going to charge him. He gets to Overwatch his 1 pistol, but fails. And then they do get to charge. Now they charge out of the forest, so they are going to be initiative 1, but the Farseer sucks in close combat, so it's okay. The Raveners are charging. They take Overwatch shots. He does get 1 hit, but does not wound. And then they charge in. So he's in trouble there because the Raveners are going to eat him for breakfast. And then the Zoanthropes move in. There's no Overwatch because they're already engaged. So the Farseer gets to strike first, and he misses with both of his attacks. And then the warriors get to attack. You can probably guess what's going to happen here because he only has 1 wound left. I get lots of attacks, and I wound on 3s, re-rolling. So I got lots of wounds, and I think he has a 4+ save, and he fails 3 of them, so he dies. So yay, Farseer's gone. No more psychic powers from him, which will be useful to a point. It'll make his Wraith Knight a little less effective. And then attacking the Raveners fails, but the Raveners attack back. And we don't even roll because they're going to get like 10 attacks, rending, re-rolling. It's just like so much awesomeness that it's not even worth really rolling. And that's it. So we continue this fight here. And he doesn't hurt the Zoanthropes that he has to fight. So this is where the tar pit comes in. The guys that were behind have to fight the Zoanthropes, who have a 3+ invulnerable, which is very nice. But he does take a wound off of one of the warriors. The Zoanthropes then get to attack at the same time as the warriors. Only get 2 hits, and they don't get any wounds. But it's okay, because they're just there to be a tar pit as the warriors try to do the rest of the work. So then we get 5 hits with the warriors, winning on 3s, re-rolling. And I think we managed 4 wounds there. 3 or 4. 4 wounds. And he fails 2 of those saves. So he actually loses combat, which means he's going to have to take a leadership test, which is really nice. Come on, guy. Get out. I get stuck on the Scything Talons and all that. And so do they run away on a 7? They do not. So that's too bad, because that would have been awesome, because I could have tried to overrun them, and he would have lost his last scoring unit, and I would have still had 2 scoring units, which would have made a big difference. So going into Eldar turn 4, he drops his magnetized weapon off of there. That's why it's always good to have your weapons magnetized. And then the Wraith Knight flies off, not really having any good targets. It'll be better for him to come back on next turn. Wraith Knight turns to engage the warriors, fires his 2 strength 10 weapons at them, gets 2 hits, and of course he's going to roll 2 wounds, but I do have a 5+ cover, and I failed both of those. So that insta-kills 2 of the warriors, and there's 1 left there, though. Then the Warlock says, "Ay, ay, 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 ay," and jumps into the combat against his own tropes. And yeah, that's just not going to work out. I do actually manage to do an inflicted wound on the Wraith Knight with the Overwatch shots, but he makes his armor save. And then he jumps in. That's going to be an impact hit, automatic strength 10 hit, which will kill the warrior. See? Impact hit, automatic. Wounds him on a 2. What am I rolling a 4 for? I don't even know. But 4+ vulnerable? No 4. Oh, wait, no, it's AP nothing, so I get my 4+ armor, which I failed. So yeah, the Wraith Knight kills that one group of warriors without any problem whatsoever. Tries to hurt the Zoanthropes, and they make their invulnerable save without any problem. And trying to hurt the Zoanthropes again with his Warlock, and fails to. So that kind of sucks for them. The Zoanthropes then attack his scoring unit, because it's more important to kill them, even though they do inflict 1 wound, but he does have a 4+ armor, which he makes. The warriors, however, get their 6 attacks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, wounding on 3s, re-rolling because of poison, thankfully, because they missed 4 out of 5 of those. And so they get 4 wounds, 4+ armor. He makes all 4. He should totally be dead. Totally be dead. And around 4, surprisingly, the Tyranids have managed to clean up most of the Eldar. Here's the big problem, though. And it's literally a big problem. It's that Wraith Knight. Because I really have nothing that can hurt it. Even though my warriors have poison, if they try to engage it in close combat, it has a higher initiative than them, so it's just going to swipe them down. And sure, their poison will hurt it better, but it still has its nice save. So yeah, it's just not good. So Tyranids turn 5 here. I tried to hurt the Wraith Knight with the Spore Pod, but that didn't really work. And so now I've jumped in with my Raveners, though, to really finish these guys off before they can hurt my Tyranids any further, my warriors any further. And the Raveners are initiative 5, so they get to fight at the same time as his guys. But he inflicts 1 wound on his Zoanthrope, surprisingly. And then we're going to roll for his attacks, I believe, because they're at the same time as my Raveners. And he takes another wound off of one of my warriors, which I put over there, because I can. The Warlock then attacks his Zoanthropes, wounds it. They got 3+ invulnerable, and they fail it, but the closest one is the other guy, so he takes the wound instead of the 1. And then the Raveners attack. They got 10 attacks, hitting on 3s, rerolling everything because of 2 sets of Scything Talons. Lots of hits. Winning on 3s. Now this is where I all of a sudden thought that I had poison, so I rerolled that 1, but it doesn't really matter because he made all of them except 2. And so he's actually still alive. Still have the warriors to attack, though. But yeah, I don't know why I all of a sudden thought I had poison when all this time I've been rolling for rending. I wasn't cheating, I swear. So 6 attacks, missed 5 of them, but 2 of them were 1, so I get to reroll, and then poison on 3, so make 3 wounds there, and 4+ save, and he fails 2 of them. So that didn't matter right there, because even if he had 2 guys left, both of them would have died. So you see if he runs away. No, he does not, but it's a multiple combat, so the guys who are no longer engaged can actually leave, which is kind of nice, because they weren't engaged with that Warlock at all. So their combat is over, so they get to run into the trees. Dark Eldar turn 5, the flyer comes back on. And it's really what it comes down to is if he kills that scoring unit, there's no way I can win. Which he kind of has some abilities to kill that scoring unit, as you can see. But it is turn 5, and I am holding an objective right now. And so if he does not kill this scoring unit, then I will actually win 4-2. But you know, he blows up this Ravener group right here without any problems. So the one that scatters off. There's still 1 Ravener alive, but you know, who cares? Who really, really cares? So I make my save. See, isn't that awesome? But then he fires his 2 boom boom guns. Only hits with the 1 because he doesn't get to reroll anymore. And he wounds it. I do get my nice 3+ cover save though, because I'm in the Iron Bark. So that worked out nicely. He's going to try to charge. If he makes this charge, then I'm just in trouble. First, I get my Overwatch and I fail that. Then he needs to roll a 6, and he does. Urgh! Totally. If he had failed that and then the game ended on turn 5, I would have won. I totally would have won. Totally would have won. But unfortunately, that is not what happened. And so now I get to fight against this annoying Warlock with my 2 Zone Thropes, and they do hit him, which is nice, and they do wound him once, but he has this 4+ save, and he fails it, so the Warlock is dead. Yay, ding dong, the Warlock's dead. Yeah, anyways, impact hit does hit, but I do get a 4+ save, right? Right? No, I don't! I fail it! Urgh! So I take the guy from the back because the other guy's going to pile in anyways. I get to attack him first, though, because he's initiative 1, because he came into the forest. I hit him twice, and then poison, I wound him twice, but he gets his 3+ save, and he makes one of those, so he still has 5 wounds left. But still, the second guy could have made a big difference. Now he's going to attack me, 5 attacks, hitting on 4s and wounding on 2s, ignoring my armor and insta-killing. So really, end of round 5. It is 2-1. I have no more scoring units. So the only way I could possibly win is if the game continues and I table him, which I have no way of tabling him. Like those Zone Thropes and the Ravener might be, but they just, yeah, it's. I realize there's no way I can win. So at this point, I concede. And so it is a Dark Eldar victory. Now, if you want to watch the post-game show where we talk about the units and the what-if scenarios and some tactics and everything else, then make sure you join the Vault if you're not already a Vault member. If you are a Vault member, then just go ahead and click the link below, unless you're on YouTube, in which case go to our website, go to miniwargaming.com/vault. And yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this battle report, and happy wargaming.